So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special video on Saturn, Shani again. And as I discussed in my video maybe 2 weeks ago on Secrets of Saturn, where what we're doing is we're kind of like, in a way, to understand astrology, you give a reading to the planet itself. Forget about giving reading to other people to test out what is working or what's not working. What you do, you give a reading to the planet itself. So if sun came to you, what reading would you give them about their life? Just like that, if Saturn came to you, what reading would you give to Saturn? The way you would do it is Saturn becomes an individual, right? Becomes a human form individual. And the first house itself represents the full body, which means if you put Saturn in the ascendant, in the Lagna, that will represent Shani itself. And once you especially understand planets and their Puranic knowledge, for example, one of the best books to understand this whole concept is called Graha Purana. Graha is that which moves. It's the name of it simply means planet, okay, in English. So Graha Purana book will have the birth of the planet and the story of the planet. And it's not such an easy read. Like, there's a lot of like little complication in there that you have to decode. So, it's not like just a simple read that, okay, this and this and this will happen. No, you have to kind of like really interpret that through a more deeper method. So one thing we understand about Shani, that especially I mentioned in the first video, is Saturn is a servant. Saturn represents that workforce in this world without which things cannot function. As much as we take pride in being an IAS officer, we take pride in working for name brand companies like Google and Amazon and Facebook or Tesla. As much as we take pride in becoming that executive, a branch manager in a bank, being a successful entrepreneur, can you imagine being a CEO of a company and having nobody to come and pick up your trash in front of your home? Nobody to clean the sewer in your city. Nobody to come and fix your plumbing issue that you're dealing with. What good is your position if you cannot have that particular service done? So you see, having anything nice, okay, it's only able to exist because of the fact that foundation is working in a synchronized manner. What good would be this house if the toilets don't work? If the trash is not picked up? If the streets are not clean? That's what Saturn is. This is why Saturn has always represented foundations of a home. This is why Saturn represents construction in astrology. Because without that foundation, you can have the most beautiful paint. Nothing matters. And this is why Shani, Saturn, becomes one of the most important planets in astrology because it is that foundation. Our muscles, our hair, our eyes, they don't mean anything unless we have the skeleton inside to hold everything. Otherwise, we're just these like mushy gobble thing will be on the ground, not doing anything. So if Saturn is a servant, okay, and in astrology, sixth house, okay, the sixth house represents service, represents servants, represents people who take care of our obstacles. So sixth house represents obstacles, right? represents enemies, fine. But it also represents people who take care of our obstacles. So a movie star, will not be cleaning a dirty toilet, a clogged toilet in their home, unless, of course, they're the most humble person in the world who understands equality. Most of the time, somebody will come and clean that. So what's happening is the obstacle happened in the home, 6th house. But it is also the 6th house that is coming to clean that particular obstacle for you. That means when Saturn is in the ascendant, when Saturn is in the 1st house, 6th from itself becomes the service for Saturn. Service meaning duty, commitment, and the sacrifice Saturn will make in this particular life. Because 6th house is also sacrifices. It's going away from your comfort zone, okay? And sacrificing something joyous in your life to attain something more valuable. Like instead of you being with your family and kids, you are working 16, 17 hours a day just so your business can thrive. But before it can thrive, you're sacrificing your family time, that particular time of your life where kids may need you the most, yet you are there doing something that you know is going to be very important, not only for your kids, your family, your well-being, but perhaps for the world. So when you give a reading to Saturn and you look 6th from Saturn and you see what Saturn represents, this is who you are. So that means the 6th from you becomes the most important place for you. 6th from you becomes the prarabdha, right? People talk about pending karmas and prarabdha. Okay, the prarabdha house is the 6th house, the unchangeable karma. And the reason why it's unchangeable, because of the fact it's controlled by Saturn. Because it is naturally 6th from Saturn if you put Saturn in the ascendant. And I've actually made a video on KRS vlogs on my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, about the paradox and the Pandora box of doing pending karma readings. It's like the most sharpest and cutthroat boomerang of doing pending karma, which again, details I've sent that before. But see, 6th from Saturn is something you're gonna have to do in this life. You're gonna have to deal in this life. You're gonna have to dive into it in this life in order for you to feel that you are actually doing something for the world. That's what you're going to have to do. Or even forget the world. It's something you will do for yourself. So until that 6th from Saturn happens in your life, when you take charge of 6th from Saturn in your chart, only then you will be able to move forward with your karmas. It's kind of like a whirlpool. It's a whirlpool, a stream, a whirlpool, a stream. You're going to have to somehow get out of that whirlpool and then go into the stream for the next whirlpool in order for you to complete your task. Otherwise, you're stuck in there. So 6th from Saturn is this whirlpool that until you complete that, it will not let you progress in your life. And I'm not talking about everybody putting, Saturn in the ascendant, because then it's just the same thing. Then 6th house becomes that particular placement. That's not what I'm talking about. Wherever your Saturn is. If your Saturn is in the 1st house, then yes, 6th from Saturn becomes that placement that you must accomplish. Saturn is in the 2nd house. That means the 7th house then becomes that placement. If the Saturn is in 3rd house, then 8th house becomes that placement. If Saturn is in the 4th house, 9th house becomes that placement. So wherever your Saturn is placed in those 12 houses, you count 6 places from itself. And the sign and the planet that is sitting in the 6th from Saturn is what you're going to have to deal with. Until you deal with it, you cannot move forward at all. And believe me, whether it's unknown people or whether it's famous people, people whose lives we know, I have seen all of their chart, and I saw exactly only when they dealt with this particular thing that they moved forward in life to gain something in life. For example, if let's say you look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs have Saturn in the 3rd house. 6th from Saturn becomes the 8th house, which is the sign of Pisces. Until Steve Jobs met Neem Karoli Baba, until he went and met spiritual masters and focused on his spiritual life, only then that blessings came in where he was able to take Apple computers to the new heights. So it's not about Steve Jobs' prarabdha being that, okay, well, you're supposed to create these devices that will connect people to one another and you can use your fingers to do all that. No, if the main Saturn said, until this is done, the other, you cannot go to the next whirlpool and deal with its karma and then move on to the next one. Until you take that cradle of the sign of Pisces, you can't move. And especially it was the 8th house, which represents Kundalini, hidden things, sacred rituals. And Pisces naturally represents the home of the Guru. Pisces represents the home of the Guru. Until he went to the home of the Guru, when he went to the ashram of Neem Karoli Baba, only after that did the company was able to progress and he was able to progress in his life. And there's these other instances also of the different people that he met. So this is how you're going to look for what the service that one has to do in their life or lives of others in order to move forward to the next step of the karma. It's not the end. It just helps you to move to the next one. But once you finish it, that's when things blossom. So, and what I'll be doing is on KRS vlogs, for the link is in the description and on the comment section. I'm gonna take Saturn through all the zodiac signs 6th from itself, so everybody can understand exactly what that 6th from Saturn, prarabdha karma is. So I'll be doing that probably tomorrow or Wednesday. So it's on KRS vlogs on Magha Vedic Astrology Academy. So hopefully this has given you actually a strong picture of what Saturn is. Because also one thing you should know, some of the most brilliant astrologers, the ones who look at a chart for 10-15 seconds and they tell you things, some of the most strongest and the most impactful things, you know what they're doing? They're looking at each planet and where it's placed from Saturn, or where Saturn is placed from them. So if Saturn is 6th from some planet, Saturn is 3rd from some planet, Saturn is 11th from some planet, they will quickly be able to tell you what is happening in your life. Just take Saturn. Saturn's relationship with each planet you will be able to give brilliant readings to people. Sure, it will have more of that negativity involved, but this is why you will see if somebody's older and you were to give them that reading with each planet from Saturn, where Saturn is placed from each planet, where each planet is placed from Saturn, that's all. That is actually one of the magics of astrology, to really understand how to give a reading to someone. But I will be posting, 6th from Saturn with all the zodiac signs on KRS vlogs. So And for that, actually, you can check out the links here in the shop section or in the course section on this website that will take you to KRS vlogs. Otherwise, next one that I will make with Saturn will probably be the 8th from Saturn. Okay. And also, let me actually add one more thing. Who do we know Saturn's biggest enemy? When you read any classics, okay, what do we see? Who do we see Saturn's biggest enemy? Of course, we know Indra was his enemy, Mars was his enemy, Chandra was his enemy. But Sun, right? His father became his enemy because of the conflict with the mother and the father, Chaya. So who is our enemy? Which house represents enemy? 6th house. 6th house represents the enemy. And the biggest enemy of Shani is the father. What you will see is when you have fights with your father, regardless of where Sun is placed, when you have fights with your father, 6th from Saturn will become active. Whenever you have argument, yelling at your father, accusing your father, father accusing you, and then you're talking back to the father. Whenever conflicts will occur, you will see 6th from Saturn will become active, whatever house that is. And however that house is situated, that results will come in. So that's a little simple trick. Okay. So, but anyway, guys, sorry for taking your time. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. If you want to know everything about your Saturn, where it's placed, all your astrological details, check out the links here, including my consultations and my academy, where you'll find KRS vlogs, where I'll be uploading this video. All right. Bye-bye.